Hello there, Bick Benedict here. We're playing God of War Ascension on Titan difficulty, and this is my No Upgrade Run Plus. We're currently on Chapter 30 of 30. It is entitled Alecto's Chamber. So, I've got great news. This was a labor of love and a source of obsession for me, but it did result in my being able to no damage the video, and it took a long time and it was really difficult. So once we get to the part that's really hard, I'll talk about why it's so difficult. But it's a brief part, but it's awkward as hell, as is the first section here. But the first thing you need to know is that attacks that end with light finishers build up the most rage. So it's not necessarily the shield plume that you want to fall back on for your default move. Feel free to do that if you want to, but for instance, the 4 attack, there's just absolutely no comparison how much more quickly it builds rage. Also, I think the only ones with light finishers we would have would be the 4, the 8, and the Shield Valor. With level 1 attacks. So the first part, and I thought to myself, you know, if I can't no damage this boss, I'm gonna have to seriously think about deleting the project, because the last time I did it, I was under the wrong assumption that the Tessephany had infinite life, but that's not the case. So here she is right here. So you want to start out with using light attacks for the finishers over here. So when she appears, it's up to you if you want to drop a Captain Planet on her. I think mine messed up, but you want to stun her, activate the clone, and also activate the Eyes of Truth. The Eyes of Truth knock her back and stun her, so they're really good. But the problem is, with the clone, they've altered it so that I think normally he does 3 stomps for the clone, but on this you only get 1 stomp. So if you're too far away from her, he's going to stomp right in front of him, so you need to be really close to the boss when you use the clone. Otherwise you're going to waste it, and it takes a long time to regenerate. So you just don't want any part of her for the most part. This is a very awkward fight too, especially with the lackeys. You don't want any part of her bird. When she's doing her bird combo, you don't want to be anywhere near her. But you want to roll from one side of the boat, just get to the safest place that you can, use the combat roll. And don't let me forget about talking about the combat roll, because the combat roll, the name of itself, was birthed on an earlier project of mine, about sustaining your rage meter by using the combat roll. So her meteor attacks over here, if you get these, it's a little unlucky, but they don't last too long, and as long as you're speed rolling around. See, the clone does a tremendous amount of damage. When you see health and magic come out of her, there's about 20 seconds where you don't have to hit her or anything. It's just a waiting period. So I think it's 20 seconds. It could be 10 or 15, but just remember that you're not responsible for doing anything other than just staying alive or just not getting hit, as was my case. But holy shit, you have a choice on what you want to do on the Tessephany and Alecto fight. Tessephany has a hell of a lot of life, but Alecto on phase 2, she doesn't have that much life. But I just don't like fighting Alecto. She's the Kraken. I don't like fighting her when Tessephany's around. I just wanted to focus on Tessephany, so I know that I did it the hard way. I knew it from hour 1, and it was, I don't know, it was like a week of trying to do it, and I'm very happy that I did it, because I can show you exactly what their HP thresholds are. But over here, remember, if you use the combat roll, your rage meter won't go down. So when you're waiting to roll from one side of the screen to the next on this part, you won't have much of a problem. But the thing about the Eyes of Truth when using it over here, you can be very far away from it. You don't have to be right next to the tentacle for your purpose to be completed. And I don't think we really need to talk about this because aside from that needle attack right there, this is pretty simple. There's a portion of the boat that I always clip on over here, and it really bothers me. But the needle attack, when it stabs the boat, you want to be up and to the right as far as you can. And if you're to the left when the tentacle starts slamming, by the time you get over to the right, you'll be completely safe. And then you'll want to use the Eyes of Truth again. And just keep at it. There's a lot of HP to take out over here. It's up to you. See the final phase of the boss, the maelstrom platform or the debris platform. There's two phases. There's an easy phase, and then there's a much longer and more difficult phase. Unfortunately, there's no checkpoint. So to abrogate how much time you end up spending on the first phase, you can definitely use the Captain Planet glitch to wipe it out fast. But Tessephany, man, she has so much life. I can't even describe it. But the clone takes away a lot of damage. Don't sleep on the clone ever. And it's very difficult because you're trying to focus on several things at once and not get damaged. So it's not that difficult of a fight if you just want to do it without taking no damage. But you know, of course it's me, and I had to do it no damage. But I was so happy. I was so happy at the end when I saw her leave, and it's just, you get a checkpoint too. It should be noted though, when you get to phase 2 of Alecto, she has hardly any health. So when you are fighting Tessephany, if you want to focus on Alecto, the Kraken, there's not much life that you have to take care of. But I had a harder time getting distracted by Tessephany than actually killing Alecto. So that's why I chose to primarily focus on Tessephany, because she's the main source of distraction. And things could really go bad for you. It's a lot of it is based on the circumstance of the moment. But if you throw everything at her in the kitchen sink, you will have a better chance of doing it. And I mean, you have to use the clone, you have to use the Eyes of Truth. Doing the Captain Planet glitch too, that would be very helpful, because we all know how damaging that is. And of course magic too, so we're gonna save the magic for any moment where we can't really move too well. And also, we don't, since Tessephany flies around so much, we don't want to miss our chance of dropping the magic only for her to be somewhere else. So we want her to stay put, or we at least want her to come to rest from one of her attacks, and then we'll use the magic. See, I'm clipping on that. I hate it. And to be honest, I would, if you just want to beat the boss, don't focus on Tessephany. I just had a personal desire to do it because of long-standing history with this boss, and having to delete a guide a long time ago because I couldn't figure out who you're supposed to hit, it's kind of vague, because you have Tessephany flying around, you have Alecto. It's like, who am I supposed to attack? Well, the choice is entirely up to you. If you want the more straightforward, the easier, the more practical, the choice that makes more sense, you just want to go after the Kraken in phase 2. If you want the harder path, I would do it the way I'm doing it, but I don't want it to be thought that I'm doing this just for the sake of it being hard. I'm doing it because I was convinced that Tessephany does not have infinite life, at least in phase 1, and that I could do it without getting hit. That if I stuck it out, I could, if I threw everything at her, got enough attacks of the clone at her. The clone is really instrumental, I would say. The first couple of captain planets that you land, that is going to be crucial too. And the Eyes of Truth are an overlooked resource, and they might not be that damaging, but the stun properties of them, the knockback properties, and how fast they regenerate, you really can't and shouldn't ignore this resource, because it regenerates the fastest of all your tools, and it's just plain good. It's helpful too. It could have probably been more fleshed out in the campaign, but for what it is, and for what you have, the limited amount of things that you have on this narrow, it's really awkward. And it will start in a minute. So phase 1 has all the moves that you'll probably see in phase 2. One of the things that it does, all it does is spray water at you. It's one of the moves that it does that you can't get harmed by, and I think they put it in there to compensate for the fact that you have to fight 2 things at once in phase 2 at least. So it's always going to do a shockwave attack first, so you just jump over it, and then I'm telling you, the square attack builds up combos so fast. Now I'm not doing it on this because I, for some reason, wasn't doing it this particular run. You do so many runs that you think you're never going to win, but the monster can be taken out really fast. I mean, truly fast. And in between phases 1 and 2, you need to preserve your rage, because if you're planning on doing the Captain Planet glitch on her, you're gonna need to have the rage all the way up, and you want to be attacking her as promptly as you can. Don't attack her too early. Wait until she's comes to a stop, and you want to just throw absolutely everything that you can at her. So once he withdraws, there's going to be a short time where nothing's over here, so we have to preserve our rage by using the combat roll here. And then I'm not sure what I do first, but I'm not even sure if I do a Captain Planet. No, I don't even go for the Captain Planet. But I think I did, but I messed up, so it doesn't really matter too much in the great scheme of things. But recovery time from that clone it can be just deadly. So the main thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you come to rest and go back and forth, and if you can't attack her, just wait until you get an opening to do so. I mean, it sounds obvious. Throwing this thing, I believe, gives you iframes, but we were safe anyway. And at this point, I had no ability to do anything because I was stuck. Because he was going to attack me and she was attacking me. Just watch out for that shotgun blast. That was a misuse of the clone right there. You want to stun her first and then use the clone, or use the Eyes of Truth and then use the clone, because of course of all the recovery time of the clone. So this just goes on an unnerving amount of time when you're doing this, because it's all about, I'm trying not to get hit, and it just lasts far too long, when in reality it's quite brief. So if you want to, you can ignite charges in her too. And she's gone. I was like, oh god damn, finally she's gone. Thank god she's gone. And you get a checkpoint here too. And now you can see just about how much life the Kraken would have if you were to focus on it in the previous phase. Oh, so I guess technically there's 3 waves. But this thing just doesn't have very much life to... I honestly, I wasn't ever expecting to kill her, but I finally did it. It was one of those things where I did a really long session, and then I came back and I did it on my first or second try. So, whew, boy, I've not dealt with that kind of nonsense for quite a long time, and I was so relieved and happy when I did it, because I doubted myself for a long time about that. So persistence there is key, especially when you have a continual self-doubt. And I honestly didn't know, because I thought she possibly couldn't be killed until phase 3, but that just confirms the fact that she can be taken out in phase 2. And then that's the walkthrough. I like to dedicate the walkthrough to my channel and to all the folks who have watched over the years, and who have taken the opportunity to stay with the channel, even though there's been some deletions of projects. I'm trying to not have those on the channel anymore, and the way I'm doing that is I'm only releasing projects after they're fully recorded, commentated, and uploaded to the internet. The whole playlist uploaded, so that prevents any video abortions or video terminations and things like that. So there's quite a lot of filler to this chapter too, so I wanted to just have everything in it so I have a chance to talk. But this is definitely a strange God of War, but I still think that it's quite a good video game. Soundtrack is very good. The campaign is about as long as need be, I guess. It's about as long as the third game, isn't it? It's just that I don't think it had the development time that maybe it needed. So that's quite sad that happened, but it's still, I still enjoy it. So I think that if you enjoy it, if you like, I like doing challenge runs on it too. So I don't just cast this game aside. Definitely not, just because it's the black sheep of the bunch. But thank you very much for watching. I hope that the walkthrough was able to, it wasn't just a redux, it was a redux, but it had a lot more to add to what I had before. A lot more different things that justified its existence now. So for Bic Benedict Productions, I have been Bic Benedict, and I will see you in my next project. I hope that this one aided you where you needed it to, helped you, guided you, walked you through the parts that you needed to, and showed you some things that perhaps you didn't know. And I will see you in my next project. Thank you, and take care.